Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Online. I have with me a very special guest, life coach, Kemi Sogunle. Kemi, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am good today. I've been wanting to reach out to you for a while to do this interview. I've spoken to you before in the past,
Yes.
but I wanted to talk to you today. Before I ask my questions or begin this interview, just let people know a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Okay, so I'm a certified life and relationship coach and expert for over 10 years, coaching, speaking, and writing books on relationships to help people uncover a lot of things that we're not taught in regards to relationship from a young age, so that we can stop, getting into the wrong relationships. So we can ensure that we're ready and committed to ourselves, so that we can also be committed to the partner and avoid all those repeated patterns and cycles that lead us to become broken and lost in our own world.
Sounds really interesting. What led you down the path to that? Because usually people say, well, it's because I was in a previous relationship, or I did this previously, or I saw this happen and I didn't like it. So what was your story?
So I started actually counseling out as a teenager. I grew up in the church with my parents, and I was involved in counseling from that age. But I didn't really understand it was my purpose in life. And I went through my own journey in life where I was raped at 17, never talked about it, got into the wrong relationships as well. And at the end of my 15-year marriage, I decided to go on a journey of self-discovery, to find myself, to know who exactly I am, and to know my purpose in life. And that led me to become a coach and a relationship expert. And I also started writing and speaking globally on these issues, because it's something that we need to address, so that we can break those cycles and repeated patterns, and stop our children from inheriting the pain that we also carry and trickle down the lane, and just kind of build on a healthy legacy going forward.
It's almost what they call breaking the curse.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so there's a word that I keep hearing, it's almost thrown around a lot, the word narcissist or narcissism. Can you demystify the word for me, please?
So narcissism is actually a personality disorder that's diagnosed clinically before you can even say someone is a narcissist. Those that have the disorder have also gone through abuse and trauma as a child, and they have developed a mindset of a child. Their brains have not really developed as we the normal people have the normal brain developed. They've just been caged up in that age group. For example, from age 3 to 10 is where they typically go through this abusive and trauma experiences that they don't know how to handle. And so because they've tried to maneuver their way and figure things out and lock themselves up in a shell, in a cage, from that tender age, they tend out to act out in what we call narcissistic traits and rage that end up affecting their partners when they get into relationships.
So what are these traits? What are these telltale signs?
So there are several of them. The first one is to know that they're always self-centered. Their focus is more on themselves. They're egoistical. It's all about themselves. They have low self-esteem. They always appear grandiose when you meet them. Anywhere you go in an environment where they may be, they always want to be the center of attraction. There are actually 3 categories of them. You have there are 2 major categories, the covert and the overt. But out of those, you also have the closet narcissists. They don't want people to know that they have this disorder. So they exhibit the charisma when you meet them. They're very charismatic. They're very charming. They're very loving. You get to love them when you meet them. Same goes for the exhibitionist narcissist. The exhibitionist narcissist always wants people to know, this is who I am. It's all about me. And it has to be about me. And then you have the malignant, which is the most dangerous one that you can get into a relationship with. They all exhibit the same traits: grandiosity, low self-esteem, lack of empathy, easily attractive to you. You're easily attracted to them. They self-loathe a lot. They self-hate a lot, and they lie a lot. They're pathetic liars. And so when you meet them, there are major 10 traits that classify people being diagnosed. When you meet them, what you first of all encounter is that charming person, and you find out that everything that you ever wanted in a relationship is what is being presented to you. And that's because they mirror you. They have several ways of operating. One of the first things they do is to love bomb you when they meet you. So you get swept away off your feet. They ask you all these personal questions to get into your own space. And as long as you're looking and you're ready for commitment, and you're looking to say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not here to play games. They mirror back exactly what you present in a form of idealizing you. And so what you get is what you think that you're looking for. Everything you've told them that you're looking for is what they now present back to you through mirroring. And that's what we call the love bombing. So they sweep you off your feet with everything you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear, but everything you want to hear about a partner that you're looking for. And so you get encapsulated in this fake love, fake web of love at the very beginning. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks after that before you really begin to realize something is off the record.
Okay. And then what's the sort of things they say when you're in a relationship with them?
So when you start getting into a relationship after the love bombing stage, they either smear you. You may hear things like, I never truly cared about you, or they may say something like, oh, that's your fault. When they do something wrong and you try to bring it to their attention, they start to go on a smear campaign, either to people that know you and kind of badmouth you. And then they come up to you and say, oh, I never did that. Everything, they project all the pain back to you. Everything you complain about in the relationship is being projected back to you, which is a way of devaluing you and denying that they're even aware of anything going wrong. They never admit to faults.
So what about situations such as denial and delusion, where you come to them and say, look, I have a problem with you here, or I don't agree with this, or I don't agree with how you're doing this, or you keep on doing this particular behavior, but they don't want to admit they're doing it, and then they turn it on you and say, no, yeah, you're the problem here. So
and that's the gaslighting process. That's gaslighting. So you come across them and you bring in, issues that you're experiencing with them. And once you start to say, you know what, this is not right. Why are you doing this? They turn it back on you and they begin to gaslight you and make you feel like you're insane. They make you even question who you are and your own sanity. And they may even recommend that you get professional help.
Wow. What are the symptoms or the side effects or when a person tries to get away from a narcissist? What are the sort of things they should look for, sort of like the points of when they pull away from a narcissist? What are the sort of things a narcissist will say, typically?
So typically you go through what is called trauma bonding with the narcissist. Trauma bonding is when you have that push and pull where you're trying to get away, but they don't want you to get away. So you go back and forth several times. They blame you, then they come back to apologize. Sometimes they even buy you gifts. Some of them, the malignant ones, don't buy you gifts, but they always try to tell you, I'm still here for you. I'm doing this, but you don't see it. They try to win you back over just to keep you in the relationship. And that allows you to form the trauma bond with them. And in that process, you also question why you want to leave, and you decide to stay back in the relationship. And so when you stay, eventually they continue to devalue you. And at the end of it, they discard you.
What about if you discard them? And then
so if you discard them, they always come back. They come back to try to win you over back so that you can get a huge devaluation. And then they now do the discard. But like I always share with several platforms where I speak and on Facebook as well. What typically happens is when you discard them, you have to go no contact, because if you allow them to come back in, it gets worse than the original state.
So, okay, so somebody now has been through a relationship, a long-term relationship with a narcissist, and they're on the other side of it. They've decided to break from that narcissist. What are the sort of things a person that's broken up from a narcissist, the sort of symptoms they would be going through, or telltale factors that they have been with a narcissist?
So most of the time, people that I've seen, that I've coached, that I've gotten out of relationships with narcissists, I've also experienced it myself. I've experienced a covert as well as a malignant. What you typically experience at the very beginning is you have panic attacks or anxiety attacks. You may have sleepless nights, you may have PTSD, you may begin to even question yourself, and you feel like you're completely lost, and you don't even know what exactly is going on with your body. Your body kind of begins to react differently when you get out, because you've been in a state of shock from the constant devaluation, from the constant trauma bonding. And one of the things I typically see is people try to go back to plead. There are some partners that try to go back to plead because of the trauma bond that has been formed, to come back to beg the narcissist back. And that leads on to continuous back and forth and more issues, emotional issues, mental issues. Fear comes in. You begin to, sometimes when it's the malignant narcissist, you begin to fear for your life. And it's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of trauma that you have to really deal with. It takes a while. I still coach people. I still got a question from a client this morning about it. She's been out for 7 months now, but she's still struggling to get over it.
What about things like you'll never get somebody in your life better than me? I've been there for you all the time. You know, you didn't. You know, you're not really grateful for who I am. You'll regret that you've left me. That sort of statements. I've heard it said many a times, and many of friends have told me, "Oh, I left her, or I left him," and they make this statement.
So when the narcissist says things like that to the partner, it's typically based on their own fear of being alone, their own fear of being rejected, their own fear of being abandoned again. It necessarily doesn't have to do with the partner they're talking to. It's a way of trying to hold that partner back again into their own space, because they don't think that they always feel superior. And so when you decide to, exit, they don't want to be defeated. They try to make you feel, they give you that guilt trip so that you can look back and say, you know what, maybe I'm never going to make it without them, and stay. I've had to deal with this. I was told you'll never make it more than 7 days without me. And here I am 10 years over in a place where I never thought I would be.
And that's a better place, I assume.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, good. So for the person that's out that relationship now, how do they move into a new relationship after that? Questioning themselves, doubting themselves, and even to the point where they think, you know what, am I good enough to enter a new relationship, or am I going to attract that sort of person again?
So the most important thing to do after you get out of a narcissistic abusive relationship is to get support to heal. Because sometimes what attracts you to a partner like that is some pain, some buried pain or trauma that you may have also experienced. And without healing from all that, you will find yourself attracting even worse than the one that you just exited. I went from, the closet narcissist to the malignant narcissist. And I had to really begin to look at myself and ask myself, what exactly is leading me to this? And I discovered that I had narcissistic background. I grew up in that narcissistic environment. And that also affected me, plus the rape issue that I never dealt with. and all the fear of rejection and abandonment that I had gone through as a child. I had to really deal with all of those. I had to heal from all of those. And I had to tell myself, it's not about the relationship that's important. It's about being committed to myself. Because when I become committed to myself, when I do the work of healing, when I clean out my own closet without having any skeletons, hidden anywhere, then I can really come to the awareness of what I really need in my space. I can define my requirements. I can establish the vision for my healthy relationship. And when I meet people, I listen more than talk about myself first.
Wow. So if people want to get in contact with you to discuss this, their own relationship, and and would like to talk with you, what's the best way? How do they contact you?
They can get in touch with me on my website, my first name, last name altogether, KemiSogunle.com. They can get in touch with me on Instagram, Kemi Sogunle. They can get in touch with me on Facebook, Kemi Sogunle 1. And they can also inbox me on any of those platforms, DM me on any of those platforms, and I'll be more than happy to support them. I have several coaching programs laid out for that. And I also help couples, because there are couples who are in it and don't know how to get out. And some of them are looking to some of the narcissists want to heal. And I work with them, and I also work with another psychotherapist that I refer them to after the initial coaching process, so they can get the help that they need and they can begin to heal from it.
Oh, so no, you've got a book that's coming out, or you had a book? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so I just released my book on Becoming Restored, A Journey to Wholeness and Understanding the Seasons in Life.
But beautiful.
And so it's all about finding yourself. It's all about understanding the seasons you're in. It's all about the journey to wholeness. Because when you're not whole, you can't really find a partner who's a reflection of you. What you find is a partner who is on whole like you are, and then they may break you further, and in the process you're even more deeper lost in life than that. And I also have 3 other books prior to that one. First one is Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality. How we lie to ourselves. We use lust in form of love, and we get into the sex, and at the end of the breakup we have to face our reality in life. And then I have Being Single, A State for the Fragile Heart. It's a guide to self-love and living purposefully in life. So it's learning to love yourself, learning to figure out who you are, and then loving yourself prior to getting into a relationship. And then the third one is Beyond the Pain, A Return to Love, how to return back to the love that you were created as, so that when you know the love that you are, it becomes very easy for you to attract the love that you need in your own space.
Fantastic. Is there any final words you want to leave with us before we end the interview?
One word I would like to leave is to encourage and challenge everyone to find your truth. It's very hard for us to embrace our truth sometimes in life, because we feel the shame, we feel the guilt, we feel the fear of what other people will say, do, and think about us. But the reality is, if we don't deal with ourselves as individuals, then we're putting out ourselves, to become vulnerable to all these abusive relationships out there, especially when you're not whole yet. The key is to finding your wholeness. The key is to loving yourself completely and looking to attract the partner that is a true reflection of you, because we are who we attract and what we accept.
Kemi Sogunle, thank you so much for being on BWTM Online. We look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Thank you so much, Ingram.
Take care.
Bye.